Hi everyone, sorry for the slightly off-brand, low-tech kind of game capture footage for this. Unfortunately my screen capture software and Civ 7 don't seem to get on. I've tried multiple times to do screen capture recordings of this video, but I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way. Oh, and it seems Marty's joining us as well. A little video on what I thought of Civ 7. And, well, there were some complaints that I had, like not being able to queue technologies on the loss of just one more turn and stuff like that. Now, the April update, of course, has brought those in. But, I'll be honest with you guys. I actually don't dislike the game very much. It's quite a nice installment, trying to do something different. Now, let me show you. So, here we have our range of leaders. Some of these are different. You know, this one here we have Ada Lovelace, who cometh with a bit of free DLC, and oh, by the way, yes, I'm quite glad that they didn't charge for some of the stuff that they have, like being able to queue technologies and the just one more turn button. You know, the fact that that's not paid DLC is a plus point. But anyway, so when you start a game, you pick some of your leaders. I won't go through all of them here, that would be a bit of a long time. And then you can start.
Game of strategy is not idle amusement. Instead, we cultivate foresight, circumspection, and learn caution. Let us build a nation together, so that we may know how nations are built.
Thank you, Mr. Franklin. So we have. So you start out by showing 3 Asias. I think that it would have probably worked better if there were more of those, maybe 5. I'll put up some pictures. And each one has different civilizations depending on which one you start in. So if I look at the Antiquity Age, for example, you cannot... you cannot say, like, start as England and play through the entire game, or start as the United States and play right from the ancient times up to now. But if we say look at these, now if we move over to exploration, we have some different civs, and then of course Moderne. Now, yeah, Great Britain's DLC is part of a free update, but I think it was a free update. It got installed on the... I'd have to check whether I got mine out the deluxe edition or what. But point is, that one wasn't in the default game. But isn't in the default game, but it's there. And even, well, you know, here's a little bit from me. If they were going to do Civ 7 like they'd done Civ 6, I had hoped that they'd have chosen Jerusalem for the Civilization music if they were going to use England. But they did it for... And at some point I always hoped that Great Britain could be in Civ. And now it is. And they have the theme Jerusalem. But there's a lot of aesthetic. And, yeah. And I know not everyone here was a, like, king or president or queen or what have you. I mean, Harriet Tubman was a reformer. A social reformer. Ada Lovelace was a scientist. Und so weiter, und so weiter. Yeah. Machiavelli was a theorist. Dai, one day.
Ciascuno vede ciò che sembriamo essere. Pochi sanno in vero chi siamo. Questo è come ha da essere.
Anyway. So we've got different civil... But of course each one, the leader, will affect the different civilizations, and anyway. And so let me talk about some things I liked. Let me load my game. Because I'm sure you probably just want to see you want to see some more features, because we kind of know that basic structure by now. You get to choose your civilization that you start with. Then, once the age progression has been completed, the new age cometh, and then after that... Yeah, sorry, it takes a bit of a while.
The sun rises. The Magi ascend.
This, as I say, this game is very graphically intense for my computer. You know, I got her in 2022, and so... Yeah... She's a bit... She struggles a bit when taking on the newer games, but, you know... But still quite, you know, I don't mind. We'll get there, don't worry. So, more to the point... I'm here. Doing the recording. I mean, I'll probably edit this down, and you don't need to see more loading screens. But so, and in this game, I probably clicked random or something, because I started as Persian, then entered the Age of Exploration as the Shoshone, if I remember rightly, yeah, and now as Meiji Japan. I am terribly sorry if I butchered the word Meiji. Either way, this is basically kind of a way of, but you know, showing the kind of way that these things worked. The sort of progression of the game. Ain'ts for ain't, yeah. Because bear in mind, if you want to... But, you know, as we're here, I might as well chat a little, because unlike some games, there are choices that are made that determine which later age civ you can pick. You don't just... You know, you wouldn't get start as Minoans, and next stage become the Ming dynasty because you felt like it, something would have had to have happened that would have unlocked the different civilization. Now, Hamiko allows you to play as Meiji no matter what once you get to the modern age. Oh, the modern age in this game starts in 1750. Look, I know, some people might find that controversial, but, you know, historians disagree on how to periodize history. I think Cynical Historian's got a video on that somewhere. Well, if he has, I'll leave it in the description, and hope you guys can enjoy that as well. Still, I'm not a proper historian, I'm not in academia, so, yeah, I'm kind of a clown with a camera. It's not like I haven't got a doctorate or anything like that. I just watch history, learn about history, and try and talk a bit about it. Anyway, soon we're going to get on to the important stuff. In fact, here we are. Because you know what? I like the fact that they got rid of the Civ 6 district system. Oh, that's the age progression. I saved it one turn before the end. But you know, they simplified districts down to urban and rural. Far better, in my opinion. But they did that, then had the strange system that was being operated beforehand with this kind of modernist approach, whereby every life function was separated out, because that was just so much annoying busy work. You know, and having to, like, plan... I mean, sure, there could be some fun in planning out the city, but when you were so limited in what you could do, I mean... And apart from Wonders taking up their own square, I kind of like the way they've just done urban and rural. Not made it needlessly more complicated than that. So you don't have to think, okay, so I've got this district, but do I have enough room in the district to build the bank I need to build? I mean, I'd like them to go back to the way they did it prior to Civ 5 and before, where you had a city, you built stuff in the city, and you could sort of understand it from there. Much more readable, but still, the way they've done it is far better. You have your rural district, you have your urban district, and district. You don't have to juggle. You have to have all these different kind of things: military, economic, entertainment, all these different things. Because you know what? Modernist urban planning principles were not a thing in 4000 BC. Oh, speaking of, yeah, you will note, c'est notre. Actually, I better just move my map. Yeah, it does use CE and BCE. I have looked in the options menu. Well, you know, now we've had the April update, I might double check. Okay. Now I am on the Europe version, so I don't know whether it's different in the Americas, but no change. Yeah. So system default. Yeah. So that would be English for me, but anyway. So I've checked the options menu. I haven't yet found a way to change it to BC and AD. Some people might be bothered about that. Not really a biggie for me, but, you know, it's only fair that everyone gets to know what's going on. Now, I do also find it annoying that I'm constantly having to repair the city. Again, the April update has somewhat modified that, but in fact, here it is. As we see from this update, the Repair All button has finally been added. And then there's this sort of quests and narrative things. I'm not really entirely sure about it, but you know what? It's the way you build towards the game, because you have these kind of where's it put now? Right, that's the Great Works. Okay, goals. Yes, because there are these legacy paths that you win. These seem to be the kind of victories. So here, the economic victory, militaire victoire. Sorry, the military victory. Science und Culture. Now, yes, you can still... Now, yes, thanks to the just one more turn feature, we can do that. But here, so we have our space race as usual, as before. The artifacts. Ideology is the big thing, because bear in mind, religion has a slightly different function to how you'll remember it from 4, 5 and 6. It kind of exists, but only really for the Age of Exploration. You'll have a pantheon in the Age of Antiquity, then Exploration gives you lets you found religions, and then by the modern era they kind of just fade into the background, just aren't really present, at least in public life. And you have ideologies instead. Ideologies which are yes, government types which are slightly different, which aren't the same as ideologies. So yeah, you could have a bureaucracy. Yeah, you could have a bureaucratic monarchy that's following communism. I mean, technically that should be there, and because according to communist theory, socialism is the transition to communism, not the other way round. But that's nitpicking. Also, absolutism would actually come first. I mean, technically speaking, absolutism was from an earlier age. Maybe they just mean in terms of like what they used in. You know, maybe I'd have probably started that with something different. Maybe put absolutism, given it a different name, and put it there. Radicalism, you know, because they're trying to fuse populism and elitism. Anyway, we're getting into politics. Does this kind of... yeah, there's a kind of few ideas here and there, but overall, that's kind of like little things. Little things that aren't terribly big important. I mean, but I also have to concede, perhaps some people might enjoy the sort of civic maintenance aspect, although, you know, delaying everything to keep repairing your city to me feels annoying. But there are now, from what I gather, ways of turning down the disaster intensity. Plus, I would point out, I have got I have got here a default game. If I go back to main menu, were I to set up a sort of new game, I'm trying to think. Game, it would be... So here on a... Now, as I say, for my first game, I wanted to sort of like get a idea of the systems, so I didn't do that. So I haven't adjusted any of these, but I could... I can adjust all these. So and of course and I can lower disaster intensity. But I didn't want to do that in the original game because I wanted to see what it was like as a default product. And yeah, there are things I feel that the aesthetics are perhaps a little overdone, and I'll be honest with you guys, I miss the Civ 2 Wonder videos because they actually showed you what the significance of these monuments was in real history, as opposed, and I think only in more recent times, only Civ 5 has really gotten close to that. But here's the rub. Yeah. Will I play Civ 7 again? Yes. Why? I enjoyed it. I like the new civilizations in a lot of ways. I like the differences.
To use and apply the language of science, we must fully appreciate, feel, seize the unseen.
Well, Ada, couldn't have said it better myself. So here we have, the fact that you can play a sort of region of the world, like the Mississippians, or as well as some more famous people like the Romans. I mean, sure, it'd be nice if the Celts and the Anglo-Saxons could show up and have someone else you could form Great Britain with, but someone other than our Norman overlords. But that's all stuff that can be added in DLC later. And you know what? It'll be fun and along for the ride. So, just want to say, if you liked Civ 7 or you didn't, it was lovely having you here.